Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to Saints TV Weekly for June 6th, 2022. Weekend's just gone by, and unless you're living under a rock, you would have known that we didn't play on the weekend. We had a bye. We had a week off after a couple of pretty good performances, 3 wins in a row to be exact. And right now we're sitting in 5th position on the ladder, which is still a very good spot to be in with a game in hand on a lot of the other top 8 teams. So a few results didn't quite go our way, but nonetheless, our destiny is in our own hands, and we've got a big game coming up on Saturday night against the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But first, let's get into some of the more pressing news stories of the last 7 days for the St Kilda Football Club. Okay, so one that popped up, I think it was around Tuesday last week, caught everyone by surprise a little bit, and this was released by Eddie Maguire on, I think it was Footy Classified last week, and he dropped that a couple of clubs were in the running for Andy McGrath, the Essendon midfielder, who I believe is out of contract at the end of the year. He said that Richmond was one, and that obviously St Kilda was the other one. So he believes that we are pretty heavy into Andy McGrath. I know a lot of Sainters, based on the post last week, were commenting saying that he's a bit more of a halfback flanker. He's not a superstar. He's not that impressive. Andy McGrath's kind of been tossed up as a potential captain for the club for Essendon, but the way things are going, a fresh start could be good for him and could be good for Essendon. It just depends on cost and what he would demand and what Essendon would want. So that's kind of one of the big news stories of the week. And for me personally, I'm not really sold on Andy McGrath. I don't think we absolutely need him. But if we can get him for, a reasonable amount, and it's not going to set us back too much, I think it'd be good depth. He's a very good player on his day, and I think that under Ratton he could blossom. And that's the thing, is we're very quick to judge players when their team's in bad form. But when Essendon have had some pretty good wins of late, like last year making finals, Andy McGrath was pretty influential in a lot of those games. So I'd be up for it, but I think we've got a lot more bigger fish to fry until then. And that, obviously means signing Rowan Marshall, getting Ratton's deal done, a number of other things, and making sure that the salary cap is in a good position for us to make a big play for some big name players, hopefully in the next couple of years. On top of that, I thought it was really good. Andrew Bassat came out during the week and just wanted to put to bed a couple of key things that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks. And one was obviously Brett Ratton and his contract status, and whether we would be looking at chatting to someone like Alistair Clarkson, which Nick Riewoldt believed that we should, and a lot of clubs, or every club should. Which kind of stirred the pot a little bit, and I think it wouldn't be smart from the club to reach out to someone like Alistair Clarkson, regardless of how good he is or how good he was. We don't know if he still stacks up in that AFL coaching environment, because it's been so long since then, and obviously he didn't end things very well at Hawthorn. So I think to go behind Ratton's back and call another coach would be really unsettling for Ratton, and obviously for the players, and our players love Ratton, the supporters love Ratton. There's no reason why we wouldn't sign him on. But Bassat came out during the week and basically said that, we have no interest in chatting to Clarko, and our future is definitely with Brett Ratton, and everyone's very comfortable with Rats, and Rats is very happy, the players are very happy. A deal should get done, and early discussions have started. So that's great. The other thing that he talked about was the review of Cairns and selling games to Cairns. And he said that we currently, at this point, don't have any future agreements with Cairns, which is a great sign. I think he'd be a bit naive to not realise that a lot of the fans are a bit upset about selling games for the sake of points. 2 games in the last 2 years, and we've lost both in pretty heartbreaking circumstances. I think it's a really good sign from the leadership aspect of the club for someone like Bassat to come out and say no to Clarko, and we're thinking about Cairns. So there's 2 things there that fans have kind of had a bit of interest in and have been a bit upset over, and he's kind of crushed them immediately during the bye week, which I think is very clever. No football, this is a good chance to stabilise a few big talking points, one being Rats' contract, the other one being Cairns, and I think he's done that very well. So Cairns, up in the air, we're thinking about it, but there's no future agreements, which is great. And then with Rats, it looks like he'll have a contract put to him, and things are looking pretty good for him to sign on for a couple more years, which is great. On Friday, the club unveiled the 2022 ambassadors for Spud's game. Thought it was brilliant. That video was very touching. If you haven't watched it already, go onto saints.com.au and watch it. I absolutely loved that they're introducing this virtual footy creative into this year's Spud's game. I've already donated and bought a virtual footy, so I highly recommend all of you to do the same. And I love that you can actually customize the text on the virtual footy, whether you want to, dedicate it to a mate, dedicate it to family, just get it for Spud. Or just get it for anyone out there that's going through a tough time, whether you know them or not. And I really like that. The video was very touching. This year, the ambassadors are Nathan Burke, Tiger, Matthew Richardson, as well as Nova Peris, Dogs Premiership hero Tom Boyd, and current St Kilda players Max King and Oliver Vesely. So I thought that was great, getting the current players involved, past players involved, and all the other AFL personalities like Richo involved as well. So, and they're all very close to Spud. So I really like that. I thought the campaign video was brilliant, as I mentioned, and I think it's just a really important message, and I can't wait to get stuck into the lead up to Spud's game, the Friday night against Essendon. It's going to be really emotional for many reasons, for many different people. But the best thing is we all come together. We all can donate. We can all share our stories, check in on a mate, and get to the game and hopefully have a really good time and get a win. But more importantly, just spread the message that, we need to spread mental health awareness. And I've been big on that for years. I just think the club just makes me very proud to be a St Kilda fan that the club are doing things like this. It's absolutely brilliant. As well as that, St Kilda did unveil their 1990s Team of the Decade yesterday. So the team, I'll get it up on the screen now. You can see that team there. There are a lot of star players there. You've got Peckett, Frawley, obviously, who was named the skipper. Max Hudson, you've got Wakeland, Thompson, Aussie Jones, Barry Hall. That forward line is stacked. Stewie Lowe, Nicky Winmaher. You've got Bowie, you've got Lockett, Heatley, Everett, Harvey, Burke in the middle there. It's amazing. Zeller. It's just, stacked full of talent there. And then obviously you've got Ken Sheldon and Stan Elves as the coaches. They all came together at RSEA Park recently and, just had a really good time. And that's a seriously good team. So I'm very keen to see what, the next Team of the Decade will be in the 2000s. But that is the 1990s Team of the Decade. One stacked team with a bunch of amazing St Kilda players. Now for some AFLW news, and I know it's been pretty negative of late, losing a lot of players in the last couple of weeks in the AFLW space, but we actually signed a player, which is great. Nicola Stevens, we completed the trade from Carlton. She's a great player. I don't think she's missed a game since debut when she started playing for Collingwood, I believe, and then she won a best and fairest there, moved to Carlton, finished second in the best and fairest at the end of 2021, and I think she's an All-Australian as well, and now she's a Saint, so really good to have Nicola Stevens on board. We'll definitely bolster our list in that team, and hopefully that's one of many new signings that we can complete, because obviously there's been a lot of changes in the AFLW space for our girls in the last couple of weeks. And on top of that, we're able to relist Clara Fitzpatrick and receive a compensation pick in the first round, currently number 28, number 15 in Victoria, with the proviso the pick to be used to trade for a player already traded to Carlton for Nicola Stevens. So we traded that in number 28 to get Nicola Stevens. So it's good that that's been sorted by the AFL. I think, it would have been stiff to not get any sort of compensation after losing so many players. But now we've signed a player, hopefully we can get moving and refine that list in the preparation for the start of the next season. Now on to round 13 coming up now. St Kilda, Brisbane, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. at the Gabba. I may be there, and if I'm not, get to Saints TV Disco, Bentleigh Social from 5 p.m. I've got the event on the Facebook page, on the Instagram stories, RSVP. Spots are selling very fast. We've got about 40 to 50 attending with another 80 or 90 listed as interested to come to the event. So we could hit well over 100 Sainters for the second Saints TV Disco, which would be amazing. So get down. If you're watching the game at home and you want to be amongst Sainters as if it's a home game at Marvel, get down to the Bentleigh Social. Marshall will be there. There'll be chants, 15% off food and drinks. There'll be prizes and Saints footy on projector screens. You can't get much better than that. But onto that game, let's look at some of the players that we can get back. The injury list, Hunter Clark, H&S protocols, he's now available, so there's a chance he can come in this week. We've got Jack Higgins, who had concussion protocol, but also H&S protocols. He's listed as a test, so there's a 50-50 chance he'll make it this week. And then Jack Steele is 4 weeks away, but the latest injury list was updated on May 31st. So that's a week ago. Jack Steele, within 3 weeks of coming back, is absolutely huge for us. So if we can get through the next couple of weeks, we've got a few big games coming up against some very good teams. If we can get through those, get some wins on the board without Steele, and then get him back with Clark, Higo, Butler, Billings, all of these players that are playing at Sandy, I think, it's going to be a big second half of the year for us. So massive game on Saturday night. But as I mentioned, if you're not watching it at the Gabba, get to the Bentleigh Social. It's going to be a ripper. Now for the questions. Let's get stuck into this. We've flown through this, so we've got plenty of time to get through some of these questions. This one's from Kovac. Why is Tom Highmore not playing? Well, he's not playing not for any reason other than our defence is one of the best defences in the competition at the moment, ranked 3rd or 4th in the AFL. Our fullback's doing the job, our centre halfback's doing the job, our second tall defender in Cal Wilkie's basically all-Australian at the moment. Jack Sinclair is all-Australian halfback at the moment, and our two smalls in Patter and Webster, although being slightly out of form, have gotten the job done and haven't really been manhandled by any small forwards. And Brisbane this week have got a few very good small forwards, so we can't afford to go too tall in that back line. Highmore, he's just going to keep plugging along at Sandy, doing his best. He'll get his chance. He'll absolutely get his chance. He's too good not to get a game. Next one's from Chad. He's asking, is it time to roof up the MCG NFL style and put a scoreboard above the field? No. MCG is the heartland. It is the sacred space for AFL supporters. I'm sorry, but nah. This is going to be, it's going to stay as the traditional home of AFL. You go to the footy regardless of whether it's raining or sunny, whatever, and the MCG gives you all elements all year round. So I think it would take away, that atmosphere that you get at the MCG. Marvel's a bit more modern. It's a bit different, but MCG, you got to keep it traditional. Next one's from Josh. He's asking, what can we do to get Brisbane after watching Fremantle do it? Well, that was very impressive from Fremantle, but it was a pretty simple game plan. Take them on. Brisbane, although having a very good forward line, have leaked over 15 goals in their last 3 games, losing 2 and marginally beating GWS at home last week. So they're very prone to big scores, and I think that's the thing we need to look at is that, yeah, sure, they've got a pretty good list. They're top 2 for a reason. They're a very good team. But when their defence is put under pressure, they crack. Harris Andrews is not in the form that he's been in the last 3 or 4 years. So Max King and him, they're going to have a big battle, and it's going to go a long way into deciding who wins that game. But I think for us, we need to get clearances. We need to improve in that part of the game because we're missing Steele, and we've kind of given up some clearances there in the last couple of weeks. But if we get first use with Paddy Ryder and Marshall in the middle, I think we can pressure their forward line. And we've got to chase and tackle because that's what Fremantle did. They laid a lot of tackles. They chased all day. They turned the ball over all over the ground. And most importantly, they made them pay going the other way one-on-one. So I think if we can get quick turnovers, we can isolate our forwards and I'd back our forwards more times than not to win the battle. And lastly, this is an interesting one. Not a Saints-related one, but I'm happy to answer it. This one's from Annabelle, and she's asking me about Ginnivan, the Collingwood small forward, the player that's gets the attention every week now, whether it's good or bad. I think this week, from what I read, it's a bit bad. He's been staging for some free kicks. And that's kind of, where my thoughts start. I think that he's got all the talent in the world and he can be a very clever small forward. I know he's a bit arrogant and that stirs people up. I don't mind that because he backs himself and he's confident in his own talent. But the staging and falling over and milking free kicks, I think that's the one part of his game he needs to fix. And, he's very young and enjoying the ride at the moment. But at some point, I think he'll realise just play footy and the results will come regardless. You don't need to milk the free kicks. There you have it, Sainers. That is Saints TV Weekly. It was a big week. I'm pretty sure there was more news than that, but I had to cram it in. It would have been a 45-minute video otherwise. The most important thing to come from that week is I really enjoyed that Bassat came out and cleared a few things up. We're going to get players back from injury, and we're going to have a big week on the track in terms of training to get ready for a huge game. Probably our most important game of the season thus far against Brisbane at the Gabba. If we win this, it sets us up massively. And if we don't, it just depends on how we go down. But regardless, we want to see the boys at their best on Saturday night. It's going to be a huge one. If I don't see you at the Gabba, I hopefully will see you at the Bentleigh Social on Saturday night. And as always, Sainers, if you enjoyed this video, please like the video, comment your thoughts about the Sainers in their second half of the year, because it's going to be a tough fixture, but I really do back our boys to get the job done more times than not. And obviously subscribe if you enjoy it and you're a Saints fan, and spread it to all your Sainers. If you're not a Saint or you are, and you've got some Saints fans that want a bit of extra Saints content, send them my way and I'm happy to oblige. So I'll leave it there. Thanks very much, Sainers. Hopefully enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the build-up for the big game on Saturday night against Brisbane. Take care and go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.